For the first time in 30 years, Congress clawed back money it had already approved, and it wasn't pocket change. $9 billion gone from the budget, foreign aid slashed, NPR and PBS defunded, and this might just be the beginning. Today we walk through exactly what happened, who voted for it, why it matters, and whether it's really about spending or something much bigger.
The resolution is adopted.
Overnight, a major win for President Trump, the House voting 216 to 213 to pass President Trump's proposal to claw back already approved congressional funding.
This bill, called a rescission package, does something rare. It cancels money that Congress already allocated. $9 billion was pulled back, mostly from two areas, international aid and public broadcasting. For Speaker Mike Johnson, this was about reducing government overreach. But for others, it felt like an attack on programs that serve both global stability and rural communities.
Government is too large, it does too many things, and it does almost nothing well.
This bill, make no mistake, Mr. Speaker, is a war on rural America. They are closing rural hospitals by virtue of the bill they passed 15 days ago, and now they will close rural radio stations.
Democrats warned that cutting NPR would hurt public safety, especially in remote areas. But Republicans argue public media leans partisan and shouldn't rely on taxpayer dollars.
This reckless Republican rescissions package is going to undermine the ability of people in rural America and in small town America to receive advance warning or necessary information when disaster strikes.
It took NPR through Texas Public Radio 19 hours to post anything about the flooding on its social media pages after the floods hit in Texas. What was NPR and Texas Public Radio doing that morning? They weren't breaking to talk about what was happening in Texas. They were running ads saying people should call Congress to fund them.
Public stations often get 20 to 30% of their budget from federal funding. Without it, rural stations go dark, and so do emergency alerts in underserved areas.
It's a rather complicated formula. So the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, it gets its money directly from Congress. And NPR, for instance, it gets very little, just in the single digits in terms of the money from the federal government. But what happens is the individual member stations, be they in Portland, Maine, or San Diego, California, or wherever, they then get money from the CPB and purchase programs like Morning Edition and All Things Considered from NPR. So that's kind of the middleman. So if you cut off this funding, it doesn't, really affect NPR directly that much, but directly it does, because then the stations don't have that funding to pay NPR to purchase those programs. And so NPR suddenly has a deficit. And this is where some supporters of public broadcasting say that this would absolutely decimate public broadcasting. And some Republicans are
The money didn't just go to food and medicine. It funded influence, especially in places where China is racing to fill the void.
Foreign assistance programs did two things. They helped, of course, alleviate suffering for the poorest people in the world. But they also built goodwill from the United States. And yes, we even gained valuable intel in that process, especially in places like Africa, where we would learn what the Chinese were trying to do to make advances there, what the Russians were trying to do. And now, just for some ideological reason that makes no sense in the world to me, we're cutting this money off.
What the Trump administration has done is opened the door wide to Chinese influence. And I think in the long run, I don't see, for the amount of money that it was costing, the little amount of money in proportion to America's budget problems that it was costing America, I just don't see what the benefit of this is to the United States. Its competitiveness, its influence in countries, its ability to gather intelligence, its ability to persuade countries to be allied to the United States. It was so easy for America to do this. I mean, this was a real easy, cheap win for the United States. And it's something that it is giving away to China. And China is stepping in to replace America in a way that, if we're looking at a global balance of power, well, which way does it shift it? It shifts it in China's direction.
You can argue the dollar savings were minimal, just a fraction of federal spending, but the ripple effect in diplomacy, soft power, and intelligence could be long-lasting.
Meanwhile, the White House budget chief, Russell Vought, is now signaling more cuts could be on the way. He told reporters yesterday the president likely will send another rescission package request to Congress very soon.
The White House is signaling this was just the beginning. If Republicans hold the House, they could keep pulling back billions at a time, reversing years of policy with simple majority votes. So what's really on the line? Is it about saving $9 billion or shrinking U.S. global power? Is it about holding NPR accountable or muting independent news? Is this fiscal responsibility or political messaging? These aren't just budget questions. They're identity questions about how we see America's role at home and abroad. There's no doubt that America spends a lot and cuts are inevitable, but this cut, how it passed, and what it targeted tells a bigger story. Foreign aid that doubled as strategy, public media that kept rural towns informed. A Congress testing how far it can reach backwards to rewrite yesterday's budget. Now you know the full picture. Tell me in the comments, should NPR and foreign aid lose federal funds? Or is Congress weakening tools that served us well for decades? Don't forget to subscribe for more nonpartisan breakdowns.